for joining us for Unscripted here on Up North Live. A lot of melting going on outside, Joe, but I think probably the messages don't really get used to it because it's not going to stay around for much longer.
Yeah, we had some melting today. In some areas, we'll see some more coming up. But we also have rain and thunderstorms on the way in.
A lot of stuff happening.
A lot of things. Can you tell it's March?
Yeah, I know, right?
It's always an interesting month. And that's also a month where we get, like tomorrow, for instance, 30s north and 50s south and big temperature ranges. Now, I want to show an area, and you can show off. You're allowed. One of the rare spots with some sun this evening. It's Drummond Island, where it's been sunny all day there. Although this is an area, late tonight, we could see the potential, at least, for a little bit of freezing drizzle. You are going to cloud up as well. Now, our northern areas, lots of sunshine through the day today. You can see that. Sheboygan had a beautiful afternoon. Sault Ste. Marie as well. Newberry up around Paradise. And then down here, we had a few showers and even a little bit of, a fair amount of cloud cover earlier this evening. Temperatures right now, still for most spots above freezing, 30 there at Mackinac Island, but everybody else in the 30s or even a few 40s right now. But we have a lot going on. We have the risk for a few stronger thunderstorms. Also, maybe a little bit of flooding concerns, rain. We'll take a look at all that coming up a little later.
Thanks, Joe. Students at MESA Consolidated Schools in Wexford County are putting down their Chromebooks and they're picking up books. The district recently launched a No Screens initiative. District leaders say low literacy scores push them to rethink how technology is being used in the classroom, leading to a discussion and a decision to remove screens and free focus on reading. Up North Live's Tony Lundy reports.
Technology has become a regular part of learning in classrooms across the country. MESA school leaders decided it was time to step back and focus on the basics. Superintendent Jack Ledford says the idea came after he met with the elementary principal to review literacy scores and classroom routines.
And then I asked how much reading time that teachers were able to devote to kids, and specifically teacher reading time where the teacher would read aloud. And she said not as much as there should be. So then we went all in and said, let's go no screens.
That decision led to the plan to remove Chromebooks from elementary classrooms and replace them with more traditional learning tools like books and teacher-led reading.
And so if we fail kids in reading instruction, literacy instruction, we have failed miserably. And so I felt like this was a drastic measure, but it needed to be taken.
For third grade teacher Hannah Breckenzer, the shift has meant replacing some digital programs with more hands-on learning.
Instead of doing like our math fluency, which was an online program before, I have the kids paired up doing flashcards and some hands-on math games. Students
had mixed reactions when they first heard the news.
When I first told my students, some of them were shocked because we did use it on certain days and things, and I had limits to it, but they had a mix of disappointment as well as just curiosity as to what we were going to do in place of these things.
Teachers say even in the early weeks of the initiative, some students are already becoming more interested in reading.
That was Up North Live's Tony Lundy reporting from MESA in Wexford County. School leaders say that they'll continue monitoring the literacy scores. And that brings us to our question of the day. Do you think more schools should go screenless, meaning less of the iPads, those different types of laptops that students are using? You can check out our website, UpNorthLive.com. You can vote in the poll. Also, you can scan the QR code right there on your screen. And don't forget to check out our Facebook page, Up North Live. Leave your comments. We'll see those results for the poll and those comments coming up at the end of tonight's show. Now to an update out of Antrim County, where the community received an update on plans for a new public safety center and the more than doubled price tag originally approved for the project by voters. Today, Plant Moran Real Point, the company hired to review this project, told the Antrim County Board of Commissioners the current plan will cost more than $37 million. Voters approved $18 million for the construction plans, and Antrim County budgeted an additional $9 million in funding, totaling $27 million. In order to not exceed $27 million, some direction was given on what's most important in this project.
It is a priority to try to focus more on diversion and mental health substance use disorder treatment rather than just lock them up and throw away the keys, which is really that 1920s, 30s, 40s methodology.
Benton added that if the project would still include the jail, administration offices, emergency operations, and dispatching space, then the size of the center would have to decrease to stay within budget. Turning over to news out of Lansing tonight, an effort to place a voting measure on Michigan's November ballot is moving ahead. Thousands of signatures have been submitted to the Secretary of State on a ballot question supporters say will ensure only U.S. citizens can vote. UpNorthLive's Remington Hernandez has more on this measure and why critics say it could actually make it harder for you to vote. That's in tonight's Covering the Capitol report.
Americans for Citizen Voting says they handed in more than 750,000 signatures from all 83 counties using more than 17,000 volunteers.
The Americans for Citizen Voting ballot campaign says the signatures represent an overwhelming bipartisan show of support for election integrity.
We saw in 2024 that non-citizens did vote in Michigan's election, and yet nothing has been done to reform that system to make certain that it doesn't happen again. Well, this ballot measure will make certain that it doesn't happen again.
The initiative would require photo ID to cast a ballot and implement a systematic review of Michigan's qualified voter file. It's already illegal for non-citizens to vote, and Michigan requires ID at the ballot box. But the campaign says that's not enough.
If they don't have ID under current constitutional provisions, they simply sign a piece of paper and their ballot goes into the stack and is counted. And we think it's important that people show ID and not have an easy loophole.
The Michigan Secretary of State's office continues to insist there's no evidence non-citizens have voted at a significant rate and says only 15 non-citizens cast a ballot in the 2024 general election, representing 0.00028% of the more than 5.7 million votes cast.
Michiganders are good people and we are smart people. What we don't want to see is a bunch of extra red tape, paperwork, and bureaucracy slowing down our elections. We know our system, we know our clerks, and we know that our elections are safe.
Voting advocates say the ballot measure seeks to disenfranchise voters and point to support from out-of-state billionaires.
What we're seeing with this petition is part of a wider national power grab by selfish politicians, wealthy elites, and those who are trying to take political power away from the voters, away from the people.
But Americans for Citizen Voting says its effort is straightforward and well-intentioned.
When people contribute to fixing our broken election process, we think that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
The gathered signatures are well over the 446,000 needed, but the Bureau of Elections says they aren't likely to be certified until at least May after candidate signatures are certified. At the Capitol in Lansing, I'm Remington Hernandez reporting.
In other news out of Lansing tonight, when you buy a house, most people take a moment to see what's around it, both good and perhaps less desirable. An active rail line with loud trains, an airport, a busy freeway, maybe a racetrack. That last one, though, the racetrack, may be getting a little protection from lawsuits from neighbors if a Michigan lawmaker has his way. UpNorthLive's Mark Shillette reports.
Shut down right now for a lawsuit.
Woody Sloan's Onondaga Dragway is about a decade into lawsuits and legal battles. Individual nearby neighbors saying his track, which has operated on and off since the 1960s, is a nuisance.
One person that can shut you down, it doesn't seem fair to me.
He wasn't in court this morning or at the track because he was here in Lansing in support of this.
There's been some issues with people moving into the area. These tracks have been there for sometimes decades and decades. And then even though the people are aware of the tracks in the area, they'll make complaints about the noise. So my bill seeks to stop those frivolous lawsuits.
House Bill 5652 protects Michigan's roughly 30 automobile racetracks.
This bill does not eliminate oversight. It does not exempt facilities from environmental laws, safety regulations, or local permitting requirements, nor does it protect them from gross negligence.
What it does do is legally shield them from new neighbors either buying or building on nearby property and then filing a nuisance lawsuit against a facility that was already there and in many cases been there operating for decades.
If a motorsports facility was established lawfully and has continued to operate in compliance with the law, it should not be forced out by newcomers.
Nuisance lawsuits can lead to the temporary or permanent shutdown of the tracks, and those in the industry argue that has a far-reaching economic impact in many of the surrounding communities.
We are many things, not just a racetrack. We're a small business, we're an employer, a tourism driver, and a gathering place for families across mid-Michigan.
This doesn't change any current local or state ordinances when it comes to noise, emissions, or policies and procedures for track operation, but it does raise some questions with lawmakers.
It does say that the immunity provided under this section would apply regardless of any changes to the size, scope, configuration, technology, or type of racing conducted at the facility.
In other words, if a track starts racing bigger and louder vehicles or drawing significantly bigger crowds, as it's currently written, they still would be protected.
That would still be lawful and legal, but it would be, I'd say, unexpected by those local residents who had purchased. And so I just want to maybe have that be considered here as the bill continues to develop about Section 2 here, and maybe look at some opportunities to limit that, just to ensure that, again, people are not caught flat-footed with changes around their dwelling.
That was Up North Live's Mark Gillette reporting. The bill is still in committee, and based on feedback in the committee meeting, still needs a little refinement before moving forward. Closer to home tonight, honoring those who answer the call. Grand Traverse County deputies were commemorated for keeping our community safe today during the Sheriff Office Annual Award Ceremony. The honors range from awards of merit to life-saving awards, highlighting deputies going above and beyond during emergency situations. Much of that ceremony today was dedicated to the deputies on scene during the stabbing at the Garfield Township Walmart that left 11 people hurt in July of 2025. And it wasn't just deputies, but people not in uniform who were also honored today for their heroic actions as well. Tonight on Up North Live News at 11, we'll meet the helpful hands during that situation and more. All right, stay right here. Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Joe Charlevoix takes a look at our weather forecast to see if more melting is on the way and what we can expect as we cruise closer into the weekend. We'll be right back.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
I'm Dee again with the National News Desk in Washington, D.C., and this is your news update.
We have a 24/7 task force that has been activated to surge resources to communicate security guidance and also assist with travel options for people that want to come home.
Americans in the Middle East who want to leave are urged to call the State Department's 24/7 task force at the number listed on your screen. They can also go to the State Department website to fill out an assistance request. Around 20,000 American citizens in the Middle East have safely returned to the U.S. since Operation Epic Fury began on Saturday. A ballistic missile heading towards Turkey was shot down. Turkey said NATO forces in the Mediterranean blocked the missile yesterday. Turkish defense officials said they had determined the missile was launched from Iran towards Turkey, a NATO member. Iranian state media said Iran's military respects Turkey's sovereignty, adding they did not send a missile there. And the House Oversight Committee has voted to subpoena Attorney General Pam Bondi to testify in its Jeffrey Epstein investigation. The DOJ is being criticized for not releasing all of the Epstein files and for reportedly taking nearly 50,000 documents offline. The department says these documents needed further review, but should be re-uploaded this week. And that's your news update.
Welcome back to Unscripted here on Up North Live. More tricky travel for the Sugar Island Ferry. Take a look at this. Crews say that the ferry will make a run in just under an hour, but couldn't make any guarantees beyond that, encouraging island residents to only travel if deemed critical or to work to minimize crossings. Ferry staff calling the icy conditions challenging, noting docking has become increasingly difficult on account of the ice buildup, forcing them to intermittently suspend service. So, Joy, I'm sure there are other areas like that within our waterways just because of how this weather's been.
Yeah, I would say so too. And the thing is, we are going to see some melting, but there's still, at least there in the same areas of the river, there's still a lot of ice. And it's, I mean, over 100% almost ice out there. So here's a look, and we'll zoom in there on the same areas river, and you can kind of see, so the gray area, that is almost 100% thick ice. I know there's a few breaks here and there, don't get me wrong. So here's Whitefish Bay, and then here's Sugar Island right here. So we're talking about the ferry area here. Again, in that fast ice category, all the way down to the Mackinac Bridge, essentially. And then here, this is 90 to 100% ice there. So still some thick ice. Here's the thing, though. We're going to have some mild weather coming up over the next week. So I think we'll see at least some melting of that fast ice there in the St. Mary's River. Before we get into weather, I want to jump up to the UP. This is like a night or two ago. This deer up on the rooftop, that just shows how much snow there is on the ground for that deer to get up there. This is near Curtis in Mackinac County. I want to thank Billy Leafers for sending that one in. I hope they got down.
I know.
Yeah.
I think he just wanted a bird's eye view.
I think so. All right, let's take a look at our satellite picture. We had some sunshine north, but clouds are starting to move in now overnight. So even in areas where we had some sun earlier, will cloud up tonight. We've had a mix of sun and clouds here today, even a few rain showers earlier, although those are kind of tapering off. But we have some spring-like weather associated with this system out west of us tonight. That'll be the main player in our weather moving forward. But ahead of that, a lot of moisture and some instability. In fact, here's the severe weather outlook tomorrow. An enhanced risk, including around Kansas City, areas there in Arkansas, Missouri, dealing with the potential for an enhanced risk for severe weather. But notice some of this does extend up into northern Michigan. This would be tomorrow night with a marginal risk for a couple stronger storms here. Again, Friday night, early Saturday. So, couple things. Late tonight, a little freezing drizzle to the north. Could be a little slippery, especially the UP and Straits. Then a break in the afternoon, and then we have 2 rounds of rain. The first one, tomorrow, late afternoon and evening. Rain, a few embedded thunderstorms here. That's around 7 o'clock this time tomorrow night. It'll be wet. And then here's round number 2. This is the one where we could have a few strong, possibly severe thunderstorms embedded within this round of rain late Friday night into Saturday. Main threats would be some hail, wind damage potentially. Can't rule out a brief tornado spin up. That would be tomorrow night. And then showers Saturday morning ending. I think Saturday afternoon, though, will be dry and pretty quiet day expected on Sunday. Maybe a brief snow shower across the UP, but some sunshine Sunday afternoon. The other thing, too, besides the risk for some severe weather Friday night, is still a lot of snow on the ground across northern Michigan. And we're going to add and drop a fair amount of rain on that tomorrow night, early Saturday, maybe up to an inch or more. So it could be dealing with some flooding concerns, ponding of water on the roadways, backyards, maybe some flooding on area rivers and streams as we get that snow melt and then the rain on top of it. So tonight, upper 20s to mid 30s, everyone clouding over. A little bit of freezing drizzle or freezing fog, more likely north. In the UP, any freezing drizzle early ends, then just a cloudy day, mid 30s and low 40s. As you head south into west, a better chance for some late afternoon showers or rain. Everybody getting into the 40s or 50s in lower Michigan. And then here, some afternoon rain, maybe a few late day thunderstorms. Better chance for rain Friday night. Showers ending Saturday, a dry afternoon and evening, and then Sunday pretty quiet. We move our clocks ahead this weekend, and a nice start to next week. Monday looks dry, partly cloudy.
All right, thanks, Joe. Coming up in sports, Harrison Beebe has a look ahead at the girls' basketball state tournaments in a special roundtable preview that's coming up after the break. Welcome back to Up North Live's Unscripted. Sports Director Harrison Beebe helps us get a preview and a look ahead at tomorrow night's girls basketball districts in a special roundtable preview with James Cook of the Traverse City Record Eagle and Drew Kohani of the Petoskey News Review.
The following segment is sponsored by Jimmy John's of Traverse City.
District finals for girls hoops going down Friday night across northern Michigan. A lot of good games to hone in on.
I'm going to go to the one that I'm going to be at, which is Sault Ste. Marie at Petoskey in Division II. The last one ended in a 55-53 Petoskey buzzer beater win. So this one has all the makings of a great district final.
Kingsley Glen Lake is another one of those. Kingsley's got 18 wins, Glen Lake 15. Both teams are pretty deep and like to run, so this should be a pretty good, entertaining game. It's a matter of whether I think Glen Lake can handle the full court pressure that Kingsley will probably inevitably throw at them.
I'm going to go down south to the Highland Conference rematch between McBain and Everett. You know what they say, it's always tough to beat a team 3 times. So if Everett wants to really make McBain feel lost, the best way to do it is to take a postseason run away from them. Let's go ahead and make some picks. We did so for the boys' side. Let's pick a girls' team that we think has a chance to be at least in the state semifinals, maybe competing for a state championship.
I like Gaylord St. Mary. I think the Snowbirds really seem poised to represent Northern Michigan in the Final Four. They've got all the tools you need in Division 4.
Yeah, I'm going to stay in Division 4, and a team that Gaylord St. Mary might have to go through if they do want to get to that point. That's Mayo. When you have a team that has a player that averages over 40 points a game, I think it gives you a chance, and that's Mia McGregor, who set the single-season points record for girls in MHSA history this year. I think you always have a shot when you have a player that good.
I'm going to play chalk. I picked McBain in my district final. I'm also going to go the McBain girls to make the Final Four because the 2 times I've seen them in person, they've handled their competition. I think they're battle-tested and ready to showcase those skills on the grand stage.
And coming up, we'll take a look at the live results for our question of the day coming up.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Welcome back to Unscripted. We are taking a look at our question of the day. Do you think more schools should go screenless? This is our website poll that we have going on right now. 86% saying yes, 14% saying no. We also have several comments on our Facebook page. Brandon says, you want them screenless at home. Why shouldn't it be the same for school? Gregory says screens are fine, but kids need to learn how to write. Danny says, OMG, yes, I've been telling the schools this for years, how many issues these computers cause for my kids and others. Amy says, maybe a happy medium, a little bit of both. You can still check out our website, UpNorthLive.com. Vote in our poll. You can also go and leave a comment on our Facebook page, Up North Live. Thank you for tuning in tonight for Unscripted. We hope to catch you back here at 11 for Up North Live News. We'll see you then.